Mr Deputy Speaker, this has been an awful week. It's been an awful week for our community and our state, and we are hurting. We are hurting as much as we've ever hurt before, with the greatest loss of civilian life from any natural disaster in Australia's history. A death toll over 170 and still rising. An extraordinary loss of life which will touch so many people in Victoria and beyond. We are bewildered that these events could have happened in such a devastating scale, and we are bruised by these events. The events of the last 72 hours have caused a horror, not just in Victoria, but in Australia and around the world. There is something particularly gruelling to know that young children have been killed. To see families huddled together and die in their homes, or incinerated in cars, in communities that we all know well and have all visited. This has occurred amongst us with a ferocity that, with all our technology, we were unable to stop. And our hearts go out to those who have lost friends and neighbours and relatives. I received word last night that David Stokes perished whilst defending his farm at Upper Plenty. I shared many camps with him when working for OAC Ministries. I want to say to Janice and his family that our thoughts and our prayers go to you. He was a loving father, a faithful husband, a committed Christian, a hard-working farmer. We do not know why he was taken, but our hope and our consolation is in our faith and his faith. These are questions which we'll never be able to answer. I spoke yesterday to Ray Evans, who will be known to many in this parliament. He was at Marysville on Saturday morning. He woke up, he said it was so hot at 8 a.m. he decided to leave. There was no threat of bushfire. He said it was just too hot, and he went down to Melbourne. He's seen footage on the news of his home which has been destroyed, but his life was saved because he took that fateful decision to leave on Saturday morning. This is how capricious a fire is. Some lose their lives and some don't. A house is burned, another one's saved. A wind change takes a fire around one farm and into a neighbour. Completely capricious, untamable, unstoppable. And those of us who were in Victoria on Saturday knew it was going to be a bad day. When you got out of bed, you knew that it was going to be one of those scorches, and eventually it peaked at 46.4 degrees, the hottest day that Melbourne, anyway, has ever had. And we knew that after a month where there had been no rainfall, this was a tinderbox. The week before, we'd had almost a whole week of temperatures above 40 degrees. But there was something even worse on Saturday, and that's the wind, the north wind, the wind that sets the fires off. And anyone who's lived through bushfires in Victoria knows that is an ominous sign. It was the conditions that we lived through on Ash Wednesday in 1983, the conditions when we had the big bushfires in the 1960s, the conditions that our parents had lived through with the Black Friday fires in 1939, the conditions that we were all warned about and raised on, captured in novels like Ash Road by Ivan Southall. When the north wind blows on those tinder-dry days, the whole of the state is at the mercy of natural disaster. It's a cruel climate. We live very, very precariously in this environment, in this country. Beautiful environment, but it holds great